Well, let's continue, shall we? Right, so we've got to the situation, just a quick recap. The village, the Mormon church, and the partner at the time who obviously left are my coaches, male and female, who suddenly turned to be the gods of the Matrix. How could I be fed up of that word, God or something? Because you see, my ex came to me one day and said that he had been chosen by the gods because he worshipped them. Everybody was to worship them. Fear, both of them. And he said to me that he had been chosen by the gods, which they were the souls, and that he was God. He was a god. Great. And then one other day he came and said to me that he was Adam. Couldn't resist temporarily. I changed my name by Deepo to Eva. Eve. I came back, look, we are Adam and Eve. Everybody in the village, except the few helpers, obviously, were helping me, light and support by the source, was the so-called Illuminati, and I had no clue whatsoever. It was revealed to me. It's in charge of the village was the Mormon church, or part of the. Well, he was in charge of that. Was his playground. Was my ex, and then the coach of the Matrix were my two coaches. And then I just thought, God, I just rescue some. I don't know, something. It's just I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't want to leave the cats. And this is just really, really, really hard. Nobody's gonna get this. Like if I can go to the police or anybody. It's just the kind of thing that you keep it to yourself. So the rescue did come. But just before, the reason why I was in that state is that my ex decided to have an argument with me, and was talking something about he bought me this. Anyway, there was this beautiful glass vase, and he pointed out the amount of things that he got for me, whatever. And I got the vase and just threw it on the floor, smashed. And I said, this is how much I care about the things that you've bought me. And he called the police, say that I was attacking him and that I was mentally unwell. Suddenly the police was there straight away. So they got us separate, and I spoke to them, and I told them that he was a Mormon, he was strange, I was trying to get out of the relationship. I had by no means checked my GP, no mental issues or whatsoever. He's lying. And if any of you actually, because they were teaming with him, obviously they were part of the Matrix, if any of you think that, considering that I have been unwell with the blood transfusion and all of that, and how slim and tiny I am and how big, tall he is, do you really think I've got any chance to fight him? Really? He said, no. So where did you go? I mean, am I going to be arrested here? I said, no, we just wanted to find out. So when you leave now? Left. Yeah. The police kind of became everyday situation later on when things got heavier. They were, yeah. I kept being arrested, doing nothing. I'll explain. Then the rescue did come. Well, what I thought it was the rescue. there comes somebody who I met through somebody else um, once time, through my journey. I got enlightened quite a few times, and every time I got enlightened, I left. So somebody who I stayed with, and I met him through him, and I got on well, but I wasn't interested in either. Um, but for some reason, I kept meeting him, and he came for a reading, and he loved it. And I didn't like his attitude when he used to come. He used to just shout and be a brat to drink or smoke, and my cats were always with me. They were on. But then I began to find him quite amusing. Amusing. He was slugging the whole system off. and and then he was diagnosed of manic depression, or so he said. And when we were talking, he used to love talking to me and coming to my place. Now I understand why. I said to him, "What do you think that you are?" Because he said that he knew that he was enlightened, and he said to me, "Adam." At that time, I was called Eve. Whatever. I thought, look, another Adam. I thought, and the thing is that he was very popular. I never understood why, because he wasn't good looking at all. Um, and women seemed to just totally fall in love with him. I used to ask them, what do you find in him? I mean, he's a complete nightmare. I mean, he's amusing sometimes. Something in his eyes. I couldn't see anything through the eyes, very black eyes. And anyway, he used to bring me his current partners or girlfriends, because he had a history of going from woman to woman. He had 6 children, grandchildren. Some of them he didn't know. I don't think he cared at all. And he used to bring them for readings to help them through the breakup because they wouldn't let go. So he used to get me clients, so that was fine. And from that to time, he came for a reading, and that was absolutely all fine. And when he came in that instance, actually, he kind of knocked at the door. And when I saw him, he came with one of his current girlfriends, and he came with somebody else who I dispatched very quickly after borrowing some money from her and buying some blue contact lenses. She was the one that also knew the Mormons and everything. So I really, so what are you doing with that one? So I just met her as I was walking in. So I gave him a hug. I was very happy to see him. And I never gave him a hug. So it's like a force, it's like I was controlled. Anyway, he took over the house, he got some food, he put it over there. I said, well, make yourself at home, hey. And he said, well, it's for you. I said, I'm not hungry, you haven't even asked me. Yeah. But something weird happened that I noticed with him. Previously, he had come, because he came randomly, he didn't even text or ask me, he just show up whenever he felt with another girlfriend for me to sort out. And once he came on his own, and he was going into one about the system, the police, because apparently he just came out of prison. I said, what have you done? Yeah. And he had an argument with a policeman, and he said to the policeman, if you enter my house, I will beat you up, and you'll regret this. You don't want to do this. And the policeman, with his ego as well, he went through the garden, entered the property, and he was beaten up, put in hospital. So that's a bit severe, so I did warn him. He was on me constantly trying to put me in prison. I said, okay, you could have called the police. I said, he is the police. I said, fair enough, fair enough. And then what happened? I said, well, they were saying, 5-10 years, GBH. But obviously he got a very good lawyer, and the lawyer found out that specific policeman used to set up black men and to actually put them in jail. So he got released. I think 3 months was 1.5 months. So I thought, okay, yeah. And then it's like if my mind had been controlled, like if I was fancy him, I kind of possibly fancy him at all. Didn't like his style, what he did, nothing. Nothing, especially after he told me he's been imprisoned and he had been all over the newspapers. Not that I minded what people want. But I thought, what if he gets grumpy with me? You know what I mean? So anyway, one day he came and gave me a present. No, he was quite tight with money. Anyway, I was always the one giving presents and things for him. And he gave me a cap with Virgo star sign. I'm a Sagittarius. And he said, no, you're really the Virgin. I said, okay. And just before I had gone to the shops and buy the most beautiful cup set of porcelain, absolutely beautiful, I love them, yeah. And every time I got a cup, it would break. To the point I had was the only cup I had left was that one. So I had no choice but to drink from that cup. Okay, so we got back when he obviously comes to kind of the rescue. I do a session with his girlfriend at the time. I talked to her, so you need to let go, need to move on. And she was just said, look, let me go and speak to him, and just stay downstairs. Anyway, I go upstairs, and he said to me, you don't look like normal. I said, no, it's because I'm thinking about my situation. Obviously, I'm not with my. He always slacked off my ex. He didn't like him, so that was quite amusing as well. And he suddenly became like quite wise and rational, like a completely different being. And he was telling me, well, it's because he's a Mason, and so are your coaches. I said, how on earth do you know this? So I know the truth. I've told you that. So when did you ever become so wise? And I had no idea. I said, no, you never told me that. If you had explained it to me properly, I would have understood. So you know everybody? I said, yes. So my parents are Freemasons. I know my family, most of them. I was raised by them. Say, are you? I said, no, of course not. I was kicked out of the church. I refused. I said, okay. He had to leave. Actually, it wasn't his car that he used. The car he was borrowing the car from another one who was in love with him. He just used them, all of them. And I said to him, do you mind if I spend the night just talking to you? If that's okay, I'll go to your place. You can go to sleep, but till you go, is it okay if I just try to find out what's happening here? Because I can see you're telling me the truth. Something I don't know. I don't know what you never told me, but I just need to ask you a few questions. Is that all right? He said, absolutely, come. Um, so we dropped back. He got rid of the ex. We were alone at the place. We got a takeaway. All good, yeah. And I was obviously very drained of energy. Half the size. I was a skeleton almost. So he was very attentive for making sure I was eating and having coffees and stuff, make sure that you eat little. So he was nice, yeah. And I obviously was asking lots of questions, and he was able to answer them. And he said to me that he was always a very quiet boy, and then his especially his mom always used to take him to the Seven Adventist Church, which are very similar like the Mormons. And as he grew up, when he was about 13, I believe, he realized how hypocritical they were and what was happening, um, and he just went and smashed the whole tables there, and he said they were hypocrites, and he was, because his mother wanted, and the priesthood there wanted him to be a pastor, one of them, and he said no. Then he left, after he was able home, and the parents were very, brat with him. Just before that, he was having this dream that there were three mountains, and they were like, they looked like three crosses, like of wood, but they were like three T's like this. And he said to me, it was revealed to him to talk the truth always. And I thought, well, you could have told that to me before. I said, well, I'm not in charge. This is the source. So that made sense to me. That made sense to me. And then he said to me that I was his soulmate. That didn't make sense to me at all. At all. At all. No way. No way. So to me that obviously they were trying to stop a relationship, the Matrix. Why? Because together we are more powerful, really. An enlightened being doesn't need anybody. You're with the source, and anybody who is with the source. This didn't make any sense to me. I just, at the moment he was the only person that could give me any answers. He's the one who knew the most, and obviously he's the one that I could have a conversation with, and he was supposedly, at the moment I saw him, that he was helping me, yeah. And he grabbed me and he kissed me, and I didn't want to kiss him, but I could feel his violence towards me, so I really had no choice. But I know I said I'm obvious, so I wasn't no big, and I was observant, and I wasn't there. So and he said to me, let's go upstairs to the bed, and I said, God. I mean, do I have to pretend that I'm his soulmate? So anyway, we went to the bed, and he could see I didn't want to make love, so for me that was a rape, obviously. But I was watching a movie, and then I got too bored. I stopped. I said, I have to go. I need to use the loo. Oh, he got really upset. He came down. I really thought I was going to be beaten up, because actually I was looking. My handbag with my phone and all my money, my wallet had disappeared. I couldn't find it. So I was downstairs, and the room was upstairs, and all I hear is like two people fighting. Like there was somebody helping me and somebody going against me. Or that was what it appeared. Was the movie I was observing appear. And then I thought, there's no way I'm staying here. I mean, I just had enough of this. I'm not gonna go through this fear of, So I have to do something here, and I thought I'm gonna have to wait till the morning, and then walk home, and that's about 9 to 11 hours. But I'm just gonna have to do it. I haven't got any money. I didn't wanna go into the bus. I didn't wanna, try to get somebody that I don't know randomly to give me a lift, because I really didn't wanna meet any more gods or Adams. I need to be on my own. Yeah. So I left as soon as the sun came out, and went back to try to think what I was gonna do, because things was getting, as you can see, worse. They were not behind the scenes. The source knew what he was doing, but in my eyes, this is. So anyway, next video will continue.